spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of sport, the thrill of victory, and the agony of defeat. The human drama of athletic competition.
Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to PSN Sports Network. My name is Brock Bennett and I am your host. Later on I will be joined by our PSN analysts Artie Decker and Nikita Magnum. Week 10 equals playoff contention games and whether or not you're staying home after the regular season. Some of our picks this week come with a high price of region championships and some are just for pride. Nikita and Artie, first up on our game this week is Collinsville at Fife. Fife keeps on rolling. And Nikita, we'll start with you. Is this a bad week for Collinsville to come into Fife?
Yeah, it don't help their cause that they've been on a skid for a while since the midway point they're already in, and Fife's not going to help their case. They're just going to keep on hammering them down.
No, misery is about to, get a little worse. This is just a mismatch, especially the way Collinsville's played here as of late, and I just expect Fife to win big.
Me too.
Next up is the struggling Lions from Crossville. Battling Sardis at home. Can Crossville, cross the line and get win number one on the year?
After last week, I picked them and they kind of burned me. I just don't see it happening, honestly.
No, Sardis is coming off that somewhat big win at Hope's Bluff, keeping their playoffs hopes alive, and Crossville is just in their way, and they're going to take care of business.
Actually, they beat Cherokee County.
Cherokee County, yeah. Sorry.
Who played a close game with Crossville, keep that in mind. So, if so, fat so, maybe they have a chance.
Or maybe not.
Probably not, though.
Well, here we have the North End Mountain Bison still searching for their first win against Brindley Mountain this week. And Nikita, is this a good week for North End to get a win?
This is the best opportunity that these Bison kids have to win in a ball game this year. They need to play their hearts out. They need to execute like they know they can, and they just got to go out there and play Brindley Mountain as hard as they know how.
Well, having seen both of these teams, as far as, comparing the two, I would lean more towards North End. I think they're a little faster as far as just overall team speed, but Brindley will kind of own the line of scrimmage, so it's going to come down to being able to throw the ball for North End. If they can do that, I think they can pull it out.
We're traveling to Sandrock will be the Pisgah Eagles in a lower 3A Region 7 game this week. Can Sandrock, Nikita, can Sandrock bounce back a little bit and pick things back up?
This matchup is about as even as you're going to get in this region. It's a tight region anyway, Artie, and Pisgah and Sandrock both been struggling to find that identity that they need, and I think Pisgah might actually edge Sandrock in this one.
I would have to, concur on that. I don't know. It's going to be a really close game, I do believe. Both of these teams, as you say, are searching. They don't really – they've got nothing really consistent going all year. And, right now Rock's probably out of the playoffs, but, playing for pride. But Pisgah's still got a shot, and they got to keep that in mind and hopefully can get the W.
Cedar Bluff, they'll be looking to rebound after a touchdown loss to Sexton last week. When they take on Gudgeville this week, and Artie, Cedar Bluff, coming off a sort of a heartbreaking loss to Sexton last week. Can Cedar Bluff bounce back to, beat Gudgeville this week?
I believe so. I think they're just a little too much more athletic for Gillsville. You look at matchups they've had in the past few weeks with teams like Coosa where they just outmanned them. I think this will be one of those types of games.
Yeah, I agree. Gillsville, even though they're coming in on a 2-game winning streak against a couple of lower tier teams, I guess you could say. They just don't have any answer for the Cedar Bluff offense that was stifled last week by a good 2A section team. But when you're playing up like that already, sometimes the teams just outman you and you can't do nothing about it.
Well, bottom line on it is, Woodville and Coosa are not Cedar Bluff by any means.
Well, Gadsden, they'll look to improve their playoff position against a tough Cleveland team this week. And Nikita, can Gadsden pull off a big win over Cleveland?
As much as I would like to give Gaston the hope that they can beat this Cleveland team at the Ridge, Artie, I just don't think Gaston's got the firepower to match up with Cleveland.
I would have to agree also, but I will say this. I think it makes a huge difference that it's at Gaston. It gives them a whole lot better chance. I think if this game was at Cleveland, this thing could probably be a little bit more of a blowout.
And if Gaston does somehow pull off the upset, boy, that just shakes up this whole region and throws it completely out of balance.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I guess every other team is rooting for Gaston to win this game because it would, take away that locked-up second spot for Cleveland.
Yeah, that would put Section moving up to a number 2 spot and playing at home that first week instead of traveling. And Cleveland would be the Road Warriors for round 1.
Well, Artie, can Outer play, Spuller this week when they host a Section line team, this Friday night?
I believe so. I kind of like Outer to win this game. I know, a lot of people don't, but for some reason, just this matchup alone, they played close last year to an extent, and I think they'll get this one.
I don't know. I'm going to have to go Section on this one because Section, even though they don't look good on paper sometimes, their region matchups have been pretty good except for the Fife game and the Cleveland game, but every other game they've played tough in a region game this year.
We're trying to keep their part in a 3-way tie. For first will be the Valier Tigers as the Woodville Panthers, come calling this week. Nikita, can Valley Head, keep that hope alive for their 3-way tie?
Yeah, I don't think Woodville even plays this game remotely close. They started out good in the first of the year and then went 3-0, and then we got to bragging on them there already, and it just seems like they fell apart ever since then.
I don't think fading is out of the question when you talk about Woodville. They got off to such a great start, but they just faded over the last few weeks, and it seems like it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And meanwhile, Rusty Higdon and Valley Head's really playing some ball, and I expect them to just run over them.
Yeah, they Valley Head rolls in this one, I agree as well, and keeps that tie for first place, and then the crazy tiebreakers come in to decide who's going to be number 1, 2, and 3.
Well, the battle for third in a rough Region 7 is New Hope at Sylvania this week, and that region's been pretty tough, all year. It's sort of been up and down. Besides, Geraldine and Plainview running the table, and can Nikita? We'll go back to you. Can New Hope get a big win this week at Sylvania?
Sylvania's played just all over the place this year, and it seems like that they just want to get in the playoffs, make a statement, knowing that they can be there. They missed it, just by a coin toss last year, and I think that they take this win away from the New Hope Indians.
Well, let me just say, I think on paper they do, but at this point, you look at some of the body language after coming off the, I guess you wouldn't call it a heartbreaking loss, but a very disappointing loss to a Geraldine team that they could have beaten. It worries me about their body language in this game. Can they get focused again, and can they, when it matters, can they get this thing done?
Well, speaking of Geraldine, they go up to Rangeville this week. They play the Plainview Bears to determine who will be the region champion out of that region in 3A. Probably the biggest game of the week around here, or one of the biggest games of the week around here. Artie, we'll go back to you. Big game this week to determine the region champion right here, can Plainview get it done at home?
I believe so, and probably quite, easily. I mean, they're playing red hot, and I think they're a better team than Geraldine, but I want to throw also in the factor of Marcus Davis being out. I think that's going to be huge for Geraldine. As you can see over the last few weeks, they kind of, I won't say struggled, but I'll say, not played quite as well as they did with him, obviously. And with all that being said, I don't too much think this thing will be close. I like Plainview pretty good in this one.
Yeah, I also take Plainview in this one. They're just too balanced for Geraldine's defense to slow down. They pass the ball well, they run the ball well, and Geraldine just can't handle that combo, I don't think.
And the last game on our list is another region title game. It'll take place down in south side of Gadsden this week. When Fort Payne travels to Southside, Fort Payne, they'll try to solidify the number one spot, because the winner of that region will be region champions and will be number one, or the number one seed, going into the playoffs. And Nikita, we don't know if Alan Smith, quarterback for Fort Payne, is going to be back this week or not. We'll have to, see later on in the week, how he's doing and everything. If he is back, can Fort Payne get the job done?
I think they fare a better chance of getting it done with him behind the center there already. But if he's out, then I don't really know what holds for this Fort Payne team.
Well, I expect, Southside to dominate the line of scrimmage, and I think that'll really hurt Fort Payne. I think that's one area that they're used to winning the battle. And with Tyler Carr and those boys blocking up front, it's going to be a tough night for Fort Payne, I'm afraid.
Well, Southside had a ton of talent last year, and they went all the way to the semifinals in 5A. They lost a lot to graduation. Will that slow them down any, Artie?
It seems to not. You lose Coker and Devine, and you think you're probably going to fall flat to your face, but they've had the Allard Williams kid step up, and he's run real well for them. And, the only losses they really had are to some really tough teams, so this team really hadn't lost a step.
So do you think it'll be a close game, or will it just be, Fort Payne getting manhandled again like they did against Gardendale?
I think Ellis will have a good game plan enough to keep it close, but I think overall, at the end of the night, Southside will win.
Shifting gears to our playoff prediction from last week, which for the most part held true. Our only shakeup is now with a 2-game win streak. The Galesville Trojans are in the playoff hunt for that number 4 spot.
Yeah, but the tricky thing about the Galesville Trojans making the playoffs is they've got to beat Cedar Bluff, and that's just, I think it's too tall an order for Galesville to handle.
Yeah, once again, as I said about the athleticism, I think it's just night and day. You look at the Coosa team compared to Cedar Bluff, and it's just, there's no really comparison. So, Galesville, you got hope or whatever, but it's not a very, big hope.
Well, they just waited too long to make a play for the playoffs. You can't wait till 2 or 3 weeks left in the season to decide you want to make the playoffs. It just don't work that way.
Well, it makes you think back. It's also the one that played Jacksonville Christian. That's a game that if they had now, it would be, very useful to them.
But what we're saying is that Galesville, even though they got hot here late in the season, they just are on the outside looking in, I'm afraid.
Well, guys, moving on to our Team of the Week honors this week. And that goes out to the Cleburne County Tigers. 4A Region 6, they beat the number 3 team in 4A, Sachs over the week this past Friday night, 34-20. And Nikita, Team of the Week, Cleburne County, your thoughts on it?
Oh, definitely huge win. Caught a lot of people, including myself, by surprise. I thought Sachs would definitely win out and win that region, but Cleburne County had other plans.
Well, I think we kind of give Sachs a little too much credit just going off of what happened last year. Maybe this team's not as good as last year's team, and it kind of showed the other night. And Cleburne seems to be the class of this region by also beating a really good Jacksonville team earlier in the year.
Yeah, this region's really tight, and Sachs, they just come up a little short against Cleburne County team that was definitely underrated.
fellas, moving on here, we got some, I guess, sad news over the weekend, and our thoughts and prayers go out to the family of Coach Jake Linville and Bessemer High School. It was his first year being head coach. He had Bessemer rolling. They were, I believe, only had one loss on the year. A tragic accident over the weekend. Nikita, just what are your thoughts on him and the program that he had going at Bessemer?
Yeah, this was devastating to the whole football community statewide. We didn't know the man, and we're not that close to the Deschler program, but we hate to hear any time something this devastating happens to anybody.
Well, from what I read, he was a really good man as far as the kids go, and it's got to be just I don't know how to even describe it really. It's got to be just painful for them kids to lose, I guess, a father figure and things like that. And also, his children losing their father, his wife losing her husband. You feel for that whole family, really.
Yeah, we just want to tell everybody that's close to them that we'll be praying for y'all, and we just hope everything that God has the plan, that he knows what to do, and he has the plan for this to come out good.
And fellas, last on the program, our shout-outs of the week. And I believe there's 2 of them this week. So, Nikita, we will start with you first.
Yeah, I want to give a big shout-out to Huntsville High School, the Panthers. They added us this week on Twitter. Keep following us. Hopefully we do, and you love what we're doing, so we'll just keep on trying.
Also, want to appreciate the love from the Boaz Pirates, also following us on Twitter. Any rest of you schools, you need to just jump on board.
Well, folks, you've heard it from Nikita and Artie. This week, I'm your host, Brock Bennett. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter. Go to our YouTube page, subscribe, leave comments, questions. For the guys here, myself, we will see you again next week from PSN Sports Network.